In this video, we'll be looking at the N4 Japanese grammar Saseru for expressing making someone or letting someone do something. This is a very common grammar point that you'll see in all forms of media and therefore makes it an important piece of grammar to be familiar with. In this video, we'll go through several examples found from various different video games so that you can get a strong understanding of exactly how making someone or letting someone do something is expressed with Saseru in Japanese. So before we get into any examples, let's just very quickly take a look at the rules of how to use this grammar point. Firstly, the most simple form of this grammar point is with the verb suru, to do, simply by replacing the entire suru part of the word with saseru. You can do this with all verbs that use suru, such as kaimono suru, to do shopping, you can turn into kaimono saseru. Or for example, to call someone denwa suru, you can turn it into denwa saseru. Next, we have verbs which end in ru and u. For ru verbs, simply drop the ru and add saseru. For example, taberu turning into tabe saseru and miru turning into mi saseru. For u verbs, you need to put the verb into the nai form, the negative form, and then remove the nai and replace it with seru. Take for example, kiku, to listen. So you would put it into the nai form, so kiku turning into kikanai, and then by removing the nai, you're left with kika, kikanai, and then you just simply add seru, turning it into kikaseru, making listen, kiku, into make listen, kikaseru. Lastly, there are two exceptions for these rules, yaru, to do, and kuru, to come. These two play by their own rules and conjugate into yaraseru and kosaseru respectively. As this grammar point can be used as both make or let someone do something, try to keep an eye out on how context decides which is the correct meaning as we go through the examples. So with that out of the way, let's get into some examples. First up, from the original Metal Gear for the MSX2 released in 1987 in Japan. Here we have a confrontation between the main character Solid Snake and the antagonist of the game series, Big Boss. With Snake having infiltrated Outer Heaven, all of a sudden the facility begins to self-destruct and Solid Snake is running to evacuate the facility. But on the way, he is interrupted by Big Boss, the leader of Foxhound and the Outer Heaven facility. Big Boss says to Snake that, "Solido Snake, yoku koko made kita na. 私が Foxhound 総司令官。そしてこの要塞アウターヘブンのボス、ビッグボスだ。死にりであるお前にこの任務を与えたのも、物騒の情報を持ち帰らせるためだった。しかしお前はやりすぎた。やりすぎたのだ。So here, Big Boss is saying that he intentionally wanted to make Solid Snake bring false information back from his mission. 嘘の情報を持ち帰らせるためだった。Literally, it was for the sake of making you bring back false information. In this sentence, he uses 持ち帰らせる to make bring it back. Next, we have an example from Zelda Breath of the Wild released for the Nintendo Switch, where in a scene between the Princess Zelda and the Great Deku Tree near the end of the game, Zelda asks the tree if he can give Link a message for her when he finally one day arrives at this place. The Great Deku Tree replies saying, さてさてかの者に聞かせる言葉は主の口よりこそ紡がれるべきではないか Shouldn't the words you let him hear be put together by your own mouth? Here the verb he uses is kikaseru, to express letting someone hear something or making someone hear something. Kiku meaning to hear, and then kikaseru to let someone hear. In this context, it could potentially be let or make, depending on the situation. The next example we have here is from Hideo Kojima's Death Stranding, where Higgs, one of the game's antagonists, finds a character named Fragile following him and makes her do something as punishment. Here, Fragile asks Higgs what he wants her to do, saying, So here, nani o saseru ki? What do you intend to make me do? Here, as she has been captured against her will, it's clear that she is asking what he wants to make her do rather than let her do, as she is being forced to risk her life in a very dangerous situation. So turning suru, to do, into saseru, to make someone do. The next example we have is from Final Fantasy VII Remake, where Cloud has fallen from a very tall place and is currently in a kind of state of subconscious, and a voice asks him if he can move his body. So here the verb that's used is ugoku, to move. However, it's been conjugated into ugokanai, the negative form, and then replaced nai with seru, ugokaseru, making karada o ugoku, to move your body, into karada o ugokaseru, to make your body move. And so here the question is asking whether he can move his body. Can you make your body move? Finally, we have an example from Final Fantasy X, where both uses of make and let could be used in one piece of dialogue. Here in this scene, Titus, the main character, has just realized some truths about Yuna the summoner, and he wants to find her and apologize. However, the captain of the ship is worried about Yuna's well-being, and so he responds with, "Nande? 謝ってそれでおしめか? その後また旅に引っ張り出して、シンと戦わせるってか? 召喚士に全部追っかぶせて、一人で死なせる気だろうが!" And so here we can see two uses of the causative form, the saseru. So the first of the two examples we have in this dialogue is tatakao, to fight. This is an u verb, and so you need to turn it into the nai form first, tatakawa nai, and then you replace the nai with seru, tatakawa seru, to make someone fight. And then the last form we have here is shinu. So shinu again is an u form verb. It's shinu. So shinaseru, to make someone die, or to let someone die. So here we can see that make and let can at times be ambiguous. Sometimes the difference is very clear when it's make or let, but other times the two meanings can often be quite similar. Here, where Sid says tatakawaseru, to make fight, it could also just as easily be to let fight, if it was the case that Yuna had the intention to fight anyway. And the same here with hitoride shinaseru, here meaning to make her die alone, but it could also mean to let her die alone. Depending on whether Yuna has the intentions of doing these actions or not, changes whether it's make or let. So as you can see, expressing how to make someone or let someone do something in Japanese is expressed with this saseru grammar point, the causative form. And it depends on contextual understanding as to whether you would interpret it as meaning make or let someone do something. I will now leave you with a few extra examples of this grammar point being used to help further your contextual understanding of this grammar point. Thank you for watching. Please feel free to leave a like, subscribe, share the video, and even try to leave a comment using this grammar point yourself in the comments section below.
とにかくここに人を入れてる犯人を捕まえてやめさせるしかない。
早速この手土産を使わせてもらおう。